you all? Assalamu alaikum. If you can hear, let me know. Give me a thumbs up, give me likes, say where you're from, say assalamu alaikum. This is Positive Mondays, and as always, we are going to talk about a selection of stories that have been inspiring this week, inshallah. Also, what we're going to do is talk to each other as usual. So say assalamu alaikum today. Moderating instead of Sister Tammy because she's on a nice long vacation is Sister Catherine in the comments. So say assalamu alaikum to Sister Catherine. She's there. She's going to put all your links up today, and she will be helping me on these Mondays as much as she can because she's a very busy girl. She studies full time as well, mashallah. So say salam also to our dear sister in social media besides me, and so it's Sister Tammy. Okay. So where are you all from? Let's see. Tell me where you are all from. And say assalamu alaikum. I'm going to say assalamu alaikum back. Today we're going to talk about a Facebook group that's helped many hijabis. We're going to talk about a beautiful act that a daughter did for her father. Today is also International Day for Elderly People. So we're going to talk about how Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam dealt with elderly people and how he told us to deal with elderly people. And finally, we've got a very beautiful interfaith story, which has to be probably one of my favorite stories this week. So we have lots of things to talk about. So tell me where you're from. Tell me assalamu alaikum in the comments and we'll get started. Assalamu alaikum, Jules. How are you? Alhamdulillah, I'm happy to see you as well. I hope you're doing well, my dear sister. All is well here. Alhamdulillah. And just some good news. As you know, I told you last week, and we made a very nice duet. Sister Tammy, her daughter, had a beautiful baby girl a few days ago, mashallah. And both baby and mother are doing very well, and Sister Tammy as well. So, alhamdulillah, let's see your congratulations for her. May Allah bless this child and her family and her mother, inshallah. So, let's get started. And with the first story of the week. And I'm looking for your comments, so please comment and please tell me where you're from. I can only see 2 at the moment. So come on, this is good for us to do. So this week, the first story that I have, how many of you sisters know about the Facebook group Surviving Hijab? I am actually one of them. I actually on this group, mashallah, and it's a great group for sisters who are wearing a hijab, sisters who are thinking to wear hijab, and so on. It's a very huge group, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum, Akbar. How are you doing? Shazana wa iyyakum. May Allah bless you also, brother. And you're from, I know where you're from, I'm used to it, but in case you don't, he's from Gujarat in India. How are you doing, brother? Are you doing fine? So going back to this story, Surviving Hijab has won a Facebook Fellowship Award, subhanallah. And this allows them to help more women, Muslim women who are wearing hijab around the world, to help them support and encourage it. And they have been given monetary reward for this. And so they will be able to help more Muslim women in hijab, as well as to grow their group. They were picked out of around 6,000 applicants to win this award. So Mabruk to the group Surviving Hijab. And sisters, if you are not on it, I encourage you to join this group. It's a really nice group. And no matter where you are in the stage of hijab, they are encouraging. So if you've only just started to wear it and you're experimenting with what suits you, to women who are, mashallah, fully in niqab, etc., everybody is on there. all kinds of stages, even I'm assuming ladies who are not yet wearing it. And it's a really nice group to get encouragement and support for wearing hijab, no matter what your profession or no matter where you are. So mashallah, I advise to go over to that group. I am on that group, mashallah. It's a very nice group. So, Assalamu alaikum, Syed Sharayas. Have I said your name right? You're from Pakistan. How is it over there? I am from UK originally, and I'm now living in Canada. And I spent 12 years in Egypt, so I've been traveling around a little bit. So all is well. So alhamdulillah, this is good. Salam, Akbar, alhamdulillah, sister, thank you, sister, for lots of dua for you. Lots of dua right back at you, Akbar. For those of you who join us, Akbar joins us every live session. So we got to know him, not know him, you know, but I mean, we see him every live session, subhanallah, and he supports us every time. So jazakallah khair, brother, and mashallah, and may Allah bless you and your family. Syed, as I just explained, I'm from the UK originally, but now I live in Canada with a 12-year gap of Egypt, which was very nice as well. Alhamdulillah. So let's see more comments, brothers and sisters. How are you all doing? So that's a really lovely story, and Sister Catherine has put the link up, so go over and check it. And as I told you, go to that group if you're a sister, no matter at what stage of hijab you are, or even if you haven't put it on yet, go and check them out. They're really encouraging and a lovely, lovely group. The next story is actually, this story touched me a lot. So when we think of our parents and what they do for us, you think there is absolutely nothing in this world that will repay them for what they can do to us. If you think about all the things that they do, that they've sacrificed, that they really strive hard to bring to us as kids and even as adults, their advice, their nurture, their care. You think about your dad working so he can bring you money so you can get nice things and so on. You think about your mother, and she's always there for you whenever you're sick, when you're tired, and she's always there. I mean, talking from my experience, my mother is always there no matter what. Even now there's distance because she's in the UK, obviously, but I talk every day, several times a day, to my mother on WhatsApp because we're very, very close, alhamdulillah. And my dad, he's not in technology. I think as many older generation, it's not that old, but I mean, it was a generation before all the digital age and all this. So we talk once a week via live video on Messenger. So he joins us on them because obviously he wants to see my daughter and everything. But it's usually my mum and me. We speak every day, several times throughout the day on WhatsApp. And I can't imagine not doing that. Whenever they go on holiday, they don't always have the connection. So it's really strange that I'm only speaking to her maybe once a day. It's odd. So you think how close you are with your parents, and may Allah bless all of your parents, and in this life and in the hereafter, and you just think how hard they worked, and whether they went out to work or stayed in the house to look after you and your siblings and all this. Well, in this one's case, this is a really beautiful story, and it really, really made me have tears. It was that beautiful. Her father, she's a young lady, I think in Middle East, I'm not sure exactly where, but her father has been suffering for many years with kidney failure, to the point that, he was critical in hospital on the verge of death. Anyway, this girl, her and her brothers, they all did the match to see who can, if any of them can donate a kidney. And she was a match. So they kept it secret from their dad, and they told him, they found a match, and so he had his daughter's kidney, and when he woke up, he found her in the bed next to him, and he realized that she was his, she donated her kidney for him. And basically, this was really beautiful. She said, no matter what our parents do, we can never repay them. And I mean, it's true, isn't it? What you think, I mean, in a heartbeat, I would be giving a kidney to someone if I was a match. But to my parents, of course, you wish to give them anything that you possibly can. It's not always possible. But I just hope that all of you think about your parents today. Give them a call if you haven't spoken to them for a while. Give them a hug. Maybe send them a nice gift, treat them. You know, you don't need a reason at all, because they're parents and they do so much for us. And it's true, we can never, ever repay what they do. And I think it's only when you become a parent that you begin to understand half of what they've done, because you are then trying to do it for your own children. So, subhanAllah, parents are the biggest blessing, and let's hope that we can please our parents and make them happy, and may they all be blessed, like I said, in this world and the hereafter. Ameen. So let me go back to the comments. Oh, I pronounced your name well, mashallah. Thank you, Syed. I tried. I love Canada, and I plan to visit Canada one day after becoming doctor from China. Please pray for me from your heart and remember me in your prayers. I will, inshallah, and may Allah grant you everything that you're wishing for, and you be successful and you become a doctor. And I hope that you can come here, because it is a beautiful, beautiful, friendly country, and the nature is just wow, you know, breathtaking. I can't, but then there's many beautiful places all around the world, I know that, but I love nature, and here you really feel very close to it indeed. So subhanallah. But I pray for you, brother, that you can get all that you wish for, Ameen, and one day you come here. Now, as I said in the beginning, today is International Day for the Elderly, and you know, if you have elderly parents or you have your grandparents still alive, mine unfortunately are no longer alive. But if you have yours, or if you live next door to someone who's elderly, or, you know, it's really important to take care of them, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslim. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us to do this. And he told us that we must take care of the elderly in our society, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslim. Because if you think about it, they are the source of wisdom. I mean, often we might think they don't know anything about our day, they don't know anything about our generation. And it's a little bit true in certain aspects of life. I mean, there's things now that we have in our generation that they never had. And, you know, when we get older, there's going to be things in the upcoming generations that we've never had. So it's always this kind of loop. But they have this they have wisdom, they've lived, they have experience, and they can give us so much in terms of knowledge and support. I mean, when my grandmother was alive, from my mother's side, she used to sit and tell us stories of when she was growing up, and she was a young woman when the Second World War hit, and she used to sit and tell us stories of how it was to live through those years. And it's amazing to hear these stories. I mean, this is just from my family. So many of you will obviously have a history from wherever you're from, and your grandparents have witnessed some big events in their lives, and we can actually learn from them. I mean, she was born in 1920, so she went through the Great Depression, and she went through the Second World War, and she went through many things, you know, what happened after that. And I just used to love listening to the stories, how they were very poor, and she used to tell us all about how it was to grow up and the times then, and I used to love it. So we really should give our elderly respect, care, love, and cherish them. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us to do that. And actually, there is hadith. He said, if a young man honors an elderly on account of his age, Allah will appoint someone to honor him in his old age. And that's authentic hadith by At-Tirmidhi. And you'll find it in the link that's going to come up shortly, inshallah. So in other words, we should be honoring the elderly and be merciful to all people, whether they're Muslim or not. And it's really an important part of our faith. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said, it is out of reverence to Allah to respect the white-headed, so aged, Muslim. And that's an authentic hadith reported as by Abu Dawud, which is also in the link. This implies that all care, all kinds of care throughout life and respect, health care, psychological care, social care, economical care, all this kind of thing should be given to them when they're old. And if you think about it, if we reach old age, inshallah, we all will have long lives. We will want people to look after us, won't we? We won't want them to see us as a burden, to see it in a horrible way. We will want people to look after us. So it's like that saying, that very famous saying, what goes around comes around. So if you treat someone who's elderly in a really good, respectful way in all aspects of their life, then you can expect the same treatment, inshallah. And there's hadith more or less saying that, alhamdulillah. And those of us who don't want to take care of the elderly, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, they are not part of our society. They're an alien to us, because he said, he is not one of us who does not show mercy to our young ones and esteem to our elderly. Reported by At-Tirmidhi and Ahmed. And again, it's in this link that you can check. So if you have elderly grandparents, or if you have elderly parents, please give them the care and support that they deserve. You know, I know with age we can become difficult, and it can sometimes, you know, the generational gap can sometimes make it hard for us to understand the other one and so on. But, you know, it is our duty to take care of them, because when we're old, we will want the same treatment. So it's really important that we try and do that. And one of the beautiful things that I really loved when I lived in Egypt, and I think it's the same in many Middle Eastern countries and probably in Asian countries like India and Pakistan, and if you're from there you can correct me if I'm wrong, but these communities really take good care of their elderly ones. And you know, when they get ill, they don't put them in a home and abandon them. They actually look after them themselves. They either take them into their house, or if the person doesn't want to move from their house, they at least go and appoint somebody who can take good care of them, and they will visit them, and they will just make them feel still very much part of the family. And I experienced this with my husband's family, with his grandmother, and I also experienced my own. Actually, we're not obviously from this, but my mother and my father, both of them took very, very good care of their mothers and fathers when they reached the age of, you know, when they needed more care and assistance. They didn't put them in home. They stayed in their own home. They didn't want to go anywhere, but they made sure they were there, and they looked after them and prepared meals for them and took them to the doctors and made sure that they felt loved and part of the family. This is in the Western culture as well, but it's not as big as it used to be, and it's certainly not as big as it is in the Middle East now, but it does still exist. But it's really important that we do that with our elderly people, because would you like to be shoved off in a home and nobody come and visit you and so on? I think you always have to think like that. And yes, it does feel probably sometimes that it's so difficult and so on, but you have to think of the reward, and you have to think how happy you're making them feel. And that's really important, especially when they've dedicated their whole life to you and to your family as well. So I think it's nice. Good morning, sister. Assalamu alaikum, Deborah. Good October to you as well. It's another new month. How are you doing? How is it? How's weather now? Is it? Are you still rainy, or is it starting to get a bit cool? Where you are, Sister Deborah, here it's starting to get a bit of a nip in the morning. Nip, you know, nippy, a bit chilly. I think that's local dialect there. We say it's a bit nippy, it's a bit chilly in the morning, but it warms up a little bit in the day and afternoon, so it's not too cold yet. But I have been warned by many Canadians who we meet, wait another month and you will be kitted out with the big ski jackets and everything and so on. So we'll see, inshallah. Sayed, yes, parents are the only ones who truly love us without any selfish reason, just love us because they know that we are part of them in pain and happiness. And our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, used to love his children and his daughter Fatima, sons he used to love and kiss Hassan and Hussein. So loving your children is also sunnah. Should always listen to them without scolding them without any reason. Oh yes, thank you so much for making dua for me. You're welcome, brother. And I love that comment. It's so beautiful. And it is indeed true. We have to look always to the teachings of Prophet Muhammad in order to really have a good life. And I mean, Islam is a way of life, as we often say, and it really is. And every aspect of life is covered. So subhanallah, you know, if you feel that life is falling apart around you in any way, shape or form, you just go back to the way Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us to live, and you will find solutions right there and then. We as modern day Muslims, we make life so complicated for ourselves. We read too much into certain things, or we don't look where we should look to try and find the answer to certain things. And it just, you know, there's some people who really live a very difficult life, and you think, why? This is not the way Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us to do. Islam should be moderate, and I hate this word, especially when the media use it, but because they use it in a way we don't really want it to be used. But Islam is straight down the road, and I believe there's a hadith or something, and you can, if you know it, you can put it in the comments. But the Islam should be down the straight. You shouldn't be this much to the extreme on one way where you're too strict, and you shouldn't be extreme on the other where you're too liberal. It's all straight down the middle, subhanallah. And when we you know, go off to one way or the other, that's when life becomes difficult. That's when we get confused. That's when we don't understand. That's when we read far too much into stuff, or not enough into stuff if you're on the liberal side of it. Because we should all be going just straight down the middle. And this is the importance of looking at the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's not just about the Quran. And I'm not sure about you, but I'm seeing many Muslims now who are saying we should only look to the Quran. No, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his final speech said he leaves two things for us. One is the Quran, and two is the Sunnah, the way he lived. So we have to take from both. It's not just from the Quran or just from the Sunnah. It has to be both. And we have to try and learn. There is tricky situations when it comes to hadith, but let's face it, these are also the teachings of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We just have to be careful that we take the correct hadith, and we have to be careful to follow the authentic hadith. So it does require lots of work and research, but so what? More knowledge makes you a better person, subhanallah. So I don't understand why people don't want to put the research in. If I find a topic that will make me think, what do I do? It's not really clear and I'm not sure what to do. You can search for hadith, and if you really look, you will see, is this hadith authentic or not? And then you can then decide. Failing that, of course, you can ask a scholar if you know one in your local mosque or local community, or you can pop onto our page, and I'm doing a bit of advertising for them there. Ask the scholar and they will help you, inshallah. So respect your elders and love your children is the sunnah. It is indeed, Syed. Yes, my grandmother was with us till she passed away, right in my mother's arm. We never left them anywhere for a moment. Cared too much because we loved her so much from Pakistan. Exactly, Syed. And a nice comment here from Mirza Siddiqui. Sorry if I said your name wrong, brother. The life of Prophet, peace be upon him, is the best example to live by in this world. Yes, it is. It really is. And that, well, I've obviously just said that, and you're right. If we just follow it, we can really solve a lot of issues that are going on today in our ummah. Salaam alaikum, Basal. I'm glad you're back, brother. How are you doing? Arshad, hello. Hello, Arshad. I hope you're doing well. Oh, Syed is replying. Okay, Syed, I'll leave that to you. Deborah, it's cool, about 85 degrees. Yes, sister, I was in Maine Labour Day weekend once and I was freezing. With regards to taking care of elderly parents, as an only child, I had the burden of my mum 8 years. The last year she was greatly weak and fell, fracturing her hip, couldn't work. I just could not lift her. I worked, so nursing home was only a choice. However, I spent every... Yes, sister, there is a different circumstance. I mean, you're working, you're looking after her still. You're still going to visit her. I'm talking about these people who use this as an excuse just to dump them. And I'm sorry to be so strong, but they just to dump them, and then they don't bother doing anything, following up with the care, looking after her and so on. I mean, there are certain illnesses that really can take a toll and do need professional help and care no matter what. My husband's father had cirrhosis of the liver, so towards the end of his life he was having to have this treatment where they were flushing him out several times a day to get rid of the toxins. My husband is working, his sister was working, his brother was working, so they had to get a nurse into his home to do it, a living nurse, but they used to visit him all the time. So this, I mean, this is the difference, what I mean. I mean, obviously if you have no one there to take care and they need that care, that's a different situation. I'm talking about abandoning them, like often, especially often I've seen in the UK as well, the people are just left in these homes and they're not getting visited, and it's like their kids just forget. And I think that if we do that, we are going to be forgotten as well. But your case is different. Obviously, if she's banged and she needs medical help as well, and she needs that kind of assistance and attention. And it's not always something that you can do to give up work, because if you're working and you're the breadwinner, or even if you're not, your husband's not earning enough and your money is supporting them, then you can, obviously you can't give that up, but you can look after her in other ways, which you did. So I'm not talking about that specifically. I'm talking about those people who just abandon them completely and don't want anything to do with them anymore. My parents, as I told you, when they're looking after their mothers, both of them, when they were looking after their mothers, my dad, and neither of them went into a home, but they refused to live with the kids. They just didn't want that. And I think that's another Western thing. They've, whether rightly or wrongly, the elderly parents themselves don't want to see it as a burden to put on the kids as well. But my dad visited her and did her meals and made sure, and my mother used to take her to the hospital and doctor's appointments and used to sit with her and so on. This is what I mean, just so that they feel that you're there and you're still looking after them. It's when that doesn't happen, that's the problem. I always preach, Basil. No, I don't. But I do try and give my opinion on things, really. And there you go. Don't mind Arashima, sister, where there are good people, there are one second. Oh, I didn't, I take it all with a pinch of salt, Syed. I spent every weekend with my mum at her nursing home, brought her. Exactly. So you did everything that you could. And like you said, you did see somebody who was alone and had no one next to her whatsoever. I used to visit her also and gave her a radio to listen to music and clothing, as she didn't have much. And this is beautiful. So you didn't neglect your mother. I'm talking about those who neglected them. And sometimes, as I said, certain illnesses need, or certain ailments, like obviously your mother broke her hip and she couldn't get around. But certain ailments, they need medical attention at all times, especially like people who suffer Alzheimer's and dementia and things like this. They really do need proper medical care a lot of the times, because it must be a very awful disease, and may Allah protect us all from such a thing. I hope that when we all get to old age, we don't have such ailments, but it's part of it in sometimes. Alhamdulillah. But this is what I love about the Muslim faith, is that we are taught to look after every part of our society, whether it's the little kids right up until the elderly. And if we follow those examples, we will do that in whatever way we can. So I didn't mean anything when I said that, Sister Deborah. I just meant those who really abandon their you know, parents or whatever. I mean, if it just so sorry to see, I think. And the last story was actually one of my favorite stories of last week. Aside from the girl who gave her kidney, this one really made a smile on my face. If we go all the way to Germany, they have been having a religious leaders football tournament since 2006. And they just had it this year, and it was the priests versus the Imams. And you'll be all glad to know that the Imams won 2-1. However, this is such a beautiful way of promoting tolerance in faiths. And, you know, we look to our religious leaders many times for guidance and, you know, for example. So when you see that they are mixing with each other like this, and they are promoting tolerance and interfaith events, it's really lovely to see, because then we can see that this is a good way to follow. I mean, obviously, you do get some rogue religious leaders, if we can call them that, like rogue imams or rogue preachers, no matter what faith. And they do like to take people away from what the real faith is and corrupt them. And we can look at several examples for that anyway. But it's always good when you see religious leaders doing the right thing. And this is such a lovely thing. I love interfaith stories, I really do. And I think maybe it's because I'm convert, so I came from that and I'm now this. But I love it when we all interact and we all get along and we all talk and and you know, I said it before in many things, you don't have to be talking about religion all the time. There are many things that you can enjoy together, whether it's football or I don't know, a certain TV program, or going to, you know, maybe you enjoy other hobbies. I mean, me, I like knitting. So if I find someone who's knitting, I don't care what faith they are. I'm going to be chatting away and asking for tips and asking for help. This is something that's really nice, and it breaks down barriers. And that's what we need a lot of it at the moment in this day and age, with the rise of the far right and the rise of intolerant opinions and intolerant behavior. We really do need to see this from our leaders. And Germany's faced a lot of far right movement just lately against immigrants and against Muslims in particular. So this is a really good example to show that there is no need for all this hatred. We can just get along. And football always brings people together, no matter what faiths. I mean, it really does. I mean, this story actually reminded me, I mean, I studied history at degree. So this is a bit of history for you. And many of you probably heard it before. In the First World War, there was a truce called in 1914 at Christmas time, and between the Germans and the Allies. At this point, the Allies in 1914 was Britain and France, and some of the European countries. The USA and Canada had not yet come into the war at this early on in 1914. So there was a truce at Christmas time, and the actual both sides, the German side and the UK, the British and the French side, they played a football match together. Now, of course, this was with the normal everyday people, soldiers coming together. When their leaders heard about this, they separated it, and they were in trouble for it. And we all know went on for another 4 years, killing so many men that and destroyed the world as it was known back then. I mean, the whole world changed after the Great War. But when you think about it, it's the same thing no matter what happens in this life. Normal people like me, like you, or like your neighbor or whoever, we can get along. We can really get along and do things together, and we don't have this many problems. But it's those in power who create them, and you always wonder why, and they always have motives and alternative motives, because it's all about greed and power and dominance. So they don't like people to get along. They don't like people to, find their common barriers is the wrong word, their common things they have in common. They don't like to see all of this. They want people to hate each other. They want people to be destroying each other. Because if we all got along and we all were fine and nothing bad was happening in the world, they're not benefiting. And when you think about the wars, the recent wars, well, any war, but let's think about the recent wars that actually started all this kind of right-wing rise. So if you go back to Iraq, it was an illegal war from the start, and it was all about oil. It was nothing else. And dominance in the Middle East. And they claimed they were coming in to liberate. I know there's things that happen in these countries that shouldn't be happening, yes, but that does not give foreign powers the right to go in and liberate, especially when they were doing no liberating, really. I mean, look at the country now. It's in a worse state than it ever was. So we, the Western powers, did that. And it's always about doing things that gain dominance, control, world domination. That's why you have the superpowers. That's why we had the Cold War with the US and the Soviet Union for so long. It's all about domination. And we, as the normal people, we suffer the most. So it's really nice when we can just find a solution and just get along and just find out common ground and just be friends and tolerate each other, and more than tolerate, be friends with each other. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I encourage you all to try and do that where possible, because again, that is also what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us as well. And it doesn't matter if somebody is different from you. It doesn't make them bad. You have to look what's in here, despite whether they are Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, any atheist. What does it matter? As long as they're pure, they have good intention here, and they're good people, it doesn't matter. And this is how we make the world better, alhamdulillah. Zara, I live now in Canada, but I'm from the UK. And Zara says, I like also meeting people who are different to me, but I got disappointment that not everyone is open to different people. I learned to be careful. Yes, there is a bit of that you have to do, especially nowadays, because like I said, the far right, I have to differentiate it. You do have your right, people who are conservative, but they are not the same as the far right, because you get conservative people who are not racist and they are not bigots, but they just believe in conservatism, which is completely different to bigotry and to racism, which we get from the far right. So this is completely different. The far right people, there is a rise on them right now, and they want to spew their hatred. And unfortunately, we only have to look to governments, and we see a lot of the governments are actually endorsing this. The USA is a prime example right now, and even the UK just lately endorsed the Hungarian far right politician. I mean, and we have some great, I'm being sarcastic, far right politicians among the Conservative Party in the UK, but we also have those that are not. So it's destroying the world, but they've tried to destroy it before, and they didn't win, and I'm so sure they're not going to win this time either, but it's something that we just have to bear and tolerate at this moment in time. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you now about Telegram. If you are not all the time on social media, sometimes if you're studying or you're working or you're just busy with your friends, or you want a Facebook break or whatever, but you still want to stay in touch with our channel, you can. And if you subscribe to Telegram, you will get 3 of our top articles of the day, and every day. So we post 3 articles on there every day on our Telegram channel. Sister Catherine will put the link for you. So if you feel like you want to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe to our Telegram channel. We have looked into WhatsApp, but right now it's not feasible. We will do a little bit more work to see if we can manage a WhatsApp channel or not, but it's not possible at this moment in time. So instead we have Telegram. So if you want us on a messaging app, go over to Telegram and subscribe. And the other thing I want to tell you about is our YouTube channel. We are growing our YouTube channel. We have videos that produced on various topics, stories of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, stories of the companions, spiritual tips, good Muslim achievements from all over the world. We have it all. If you go, and we put these live sessions, whether it's from me or Sister Tammy, and we also put our live counseling sessions on there. So please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can catch up with all our videos from, let's say, July 2017. We've been producing videos since then. So go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel and share it, and go ahead and check out all those videos that we've done. And there's some lovely videos on there, alhamdulillah. That's the 2 links I want to mention. And finally, brothers and sisters, I would like you all to join me in making dua for I think the death toll has risen in Indonesia. As you all know, they faced an earthquake and tsunami, and I think it's probably gone over 1,000 people dead now. So brothers and sisters, let us make dua for our brothers and sisters in Indonesia. If you're from Indonesia, I'm praying that you're all safe and well, and that all your loved ones are safe and well also. For those who died, may Allah forgive all their sins and grant them paradise, Ameen. And for those who are injured, may Allah grant you shifa and speedy recovery, Ameen. And for those of their family, for those of the people who have lost loved ones in this frightening event, may Allah grant you all patience and good reward for this patience. Ameen. So let's all make dua for our brothers and sisters over in Indonesia. Please don't forget them. And please, if you can donate, we have 2 pages on our About Islam webpage, www.aboutislam.net. And they are, if you just type in the Indonesia earthquake, you will find 2 articles that are telling you about charities that are on the ground trying to help the victims of this terrible earthquake and tsunami. And I know for a fact that Islamic Relief Worldwide do have an appeal, so if you do wish to donate, visit their page. But you will find some other Islamic charities are also doing that, and you can find them on those 2 articles. So may Allah grant all our brothers and sisters in Indonesia patience, and for those who have sadly died, may He grant them paradise, Ameen. And for all our brothers and sisters across the world who are oppressed and are suffering terrible atrocities right now, may Allah grant you all patience. May Allah give you a good reward in the hereafter, Ameen. And for all of you who follow us on About Islam, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, wherever we are on social media, may Allah grant you all a good life in this world and hereafter, and bless you all and your families. Inshallah, you will all have a blessed week, and I will speak to you next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.